Welcome to the glassworking shop. Well, I've been doing some modifications to the user interface on my prototype lathe, and I think they're coming along pretty good. I think that there's some interesting functions here. And before I get started, I'll answer the question yet again. When will this be in production? I don't know. Maybe someday. I'm working with a couple of shops to try to figure out if it can be produced economically. I understand that now is a particularly bad time in the glassworking world with a lot of glass artists struggling, and so introducing a new product at this time may not be the smartest idea, but I continue working on the prototype and continue working with other shops to try to figure out if it can be made economically. Yes, I was able to make the one prototype in my shop, but it's not in a state where I could reasonably put it into production at any kind of reasonable price. So I'm going to move the camera and talk a little bit about the user interface and the new functions that have been added. The user interface control panel is currently mounted on an adjustable arm because I'm not exactly sure where it needs to be, and I want to be able to have the flexibility of moving it around a little bit. Who knows, maybe it'll stay on a adjustable arm because I might want to modify things as they go along, but there's also a possibility that once I determine, that's a great place, I'll just make a fixed arm because there's no chance that it could get bumped or moved into some uncomfortable position. Here's the control panel. I'll try to, hopefully my hand won't cover up what's going on. I'll try to do this so you can see what's going on. When the machine turns on, it starts in jog mode. And in jog mode, you turn the knob here, and of course you can't see what the lathe is doing, so let me get the wide angle shot here. The jog mode moves, and it moves pretty responsively. It does have a ramp up and ramp down in the control algorithm because the spindle and the chuck and the workpiece, they all have inertia, and you can't start and stop instantly, so everything has to be a kind of a smooth ramp up and ramp down. So that's the jog knob. Then when you start the rotation, the jog knob now becomes the speed knob. And I'm displaying RPM because sometimes it's nice to be able to remember, I like 60 RPM for that job, I like 50 for this, I like 100 for this, and so we have the display of RPM, and then when it's turned off it returns to jog mode, and jog is displayed in degrees as well. There's also the twist knob, which is a spring-loaded return to center knob, so when you twist it, it kind of fights a little bit, and the more you twist, the more it fights, and then you release it and it returns to zero. The twist knob controls twist both with the motors running and when it's stopped. So when it's stopped, let me get when it's stopped, twist only controls the right chuck, and when it's in motion, twist controls the right chuck relative to the left chuck. Now here's the new, let me get the camera pointed up here. Here's a new function that was just created. Yeah, just finished it this morning, actually. And that is that Many glassworkers who use a lathe rely on the fact that you can grab the chuck when the lathe is turned off and move it. Well, in this system with the dual motors and the brake, you can't really do that. You can't grab the chuck when it's turned off because it's locked solid. And the locked solid part is really valuable for opening a stuck chuck. When lathe chucks get hot, they can sometimes get stuck, and it's really, really nice to have the spindle lock in place so that when it's turned off, you can more easily open a stuck chuck. But I've had requests from expert glassworkers who say, yeah, but I like to grab it and move it when I'm working. So I made an auxiliary up here, an auxiliary jog knob that functions exactly the same way as the regular jog knob, but it's in a more comfortable, kind of intuitive position that allows you to use the trained motions that you've built up, and instead of grabbing the chuck ring, just grab the control. Got a couple other things that the user interface does. Move the camera back down here. I'm not sure, these are functions that I'm not exactly sure they're necessary, but it's always nice. What I've found in the past, designing equipment for musicians and designing equipment for artists, that even if I don't clearly understand what a function might be useful for, well, sometimes you get surprised. Sometimes artists or whatever, people who use it, find new uses for things that I never anticipated. So the buttons at the bottom of the control panel are for programmability. So let me zero everything out and push the program button, and you notice that now there's a little line under the number that says jog step. And that is every time you push the positive or negative step button, the jog will move. So let's set it over here for, 45 degrees. So that means every time you push the positive or negative button, it'll move 45 degrees. The same thing is possible in twist. So let's set the twist to 33 degrees. So every time you push the positive or negative button, when twisting, you'll get that number of degrees in twist. And push program again, and now the program is set. So let's go zoom back out so that you can see the result of this. There's a 45-degree positive step. Another 45-degree positive step, 45-degree negative step, and it's conceivable that this could be used. Let's say that you're making a pattern or putting on attachments or making, something else where you need precision and need to be able to know exactly where on a round surface you are. It's possible that the step function might be useful. And then it's a lot harder to see, it's hard to see twist in the video demo, but now it's twisting slowly. Everything in twist is done slowly, twisting up to the programmed position. Anyway, that's the user interface. Thank you for watching. It's been fun.